The Indianapolis 250 is the biggest race run all year round, and a whole week of festivities leading up to the main event, which will be next Saturday at noon Eastern Time. But a week before, we need to set the starting lineup for the biggest race of the year. Today, it's the first day of qualifying for the 12th running of the Indianapolis 250. All 36 entries going out for a single lap. The fastest 9 advance on to the Fast 9 tomorrow, and the slowest 9 have to go again to avoid elimination from running in this great race. We are here for single car qualifying in the 12th running, the 2025 Indianapolis 250, here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here during Indy 250 week. We are here for day number 1 of Indianapolis 250 qualifying. Today, all 36 drivers will go out onto the racetrack, post a single lap. The fastest 9 go for the pole tomorrow, and the slowest 9 avoid elimination, or at least attempt to avoid elimination tomorrow in the last 9 shootout. And this one singular lap could make or break not only this race, but the entire season as well. But the big focus is on this race for these drivers, and these drivers want to make sure they have a spot in the greatest race on the channel come this time next week. But they got to race their way in, and that is what we are here to do today for the first day of Indy 250 qualifying. Last night we had ourselves the first, or should I say second, practice session, which set the qualifying order that we will see here tonight, or today I should say. Avery Alford will be the first driver to go out, and all 36 of these drivers will run one lap here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, all the way leading up to Aaron Abel, who was quickest yesterday in the main practice session. So it's all about how fast the car is. There is no drafting assistance. There are no other cars on the racetrack, and it is, in fact, only the one lap. So unlike in real life where they do a 4-lap average, here we do just the one lap. And this was the first event back in 2019, 6 years ago, that ran a single car qualifying session on the channel. And, of course, this is the 7th time we have done single car qualifying. And I'm back in the booth for single car qualifying as well. Huge thanks to Caleb last year for coming in clutch and doing a lot of the Indy 250 week events. But it's great to be back in the booth during the entirety of Indy 250 week this year. And I'm very excited to see how it all goes down here today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Once we are done with qualifying tomorrow, the top 10 qualifiers in this race will receive championship points. 10 points to the pole sitter, down to 1 point for 10th. Of course, tomorrow is also when we will eliminate 3 drivers, and 3 drivers will fail to qualify for this Indianapolis 250. If you are 27th or higher here today, then you have nothing to worry about. You are locked in the show for the Indianapolis 250, but if you're 28th to 36 on the grid in terms of speed, you're going to have to go after it again tomorrow in the last night shootout, and 6 of the 9 will race their way in. The slowest 3 will fail to qualify. And one driver in particular who has failed to qualify the past 2 years is Bruno Di Giacomo. He's going to be going out second here today. We'll see if it's 3 in a row for him, or if he, in fact, clinches a spot in this great race later on today. Let's go ahead and get all the festivities started here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're going to be here a little while. 36 drivers, all single car runs. Avery Alford, the first driver out there on the racetrack. Let's get the first day of Indianapolis 250 qualifying underway here in the 2025 Haas IndyCar Series. And it begins here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here on this Saturday afternoon. Avery Alford was the slowest in practice last night, so he gets to be the first driver to go out there on the racetrack. And it is a sunny day, which means that these lap times are going to be a little bit slower than if they were during cloudy conditions. So these guys are going to have slightly slower times. They're probably going to be all north of 40 seconds. But we will see how well it ends up shaking out for these drivers, and we're really not going to get a good benchmark until we get a couple of guys running in this session. So for Bruno Di Giacomo, who's next in line, who was DNQ'd the last 2 years, definitely a very nervous moment for him, as he's going to be the second driver out. But Avery Alford going to be the first driver to clock in a time right here. He's going to start at 2:18 across the line, going 2:20 going into turn number 1. And Avery Alford, this is going to be his third attempt at this race. We have some folks here alongside me. We got Andrew Miller here. I'm going to start with you. Of course, you saw practice the other day. You saw Avery Alford and what he did. What does he need to do? And what do all these drivers need to get a good time in here today and avoid having to be in that last 9 tomorrow?
Smooth. Smooth is the name of the game. Just turn that wheel as little as you can, scrub off as little speed in the corners as you can, especially 2 and 4, because these long straightaways, you need every mile per hour that you can get.
And across the line for Avery Alford, 41.314. That will be the first time set here today. And we'll put that on the board right there, and we will see all these guys clock in their times as we move on throughout the day. But Avery Alford, 41.314 here in Indy 250 qualifying. Second driver in line, Bruno Di Giacomo, and a lot of folks are going to be focusing on this one because Bruno Di Giacomo, the only driver who has failed to qualify for this race twice, and he has done so the past 2 years. He has never run in the Indianapolis 250, and if he gets 27th, it is going to be the biggest moment of his NR career if he can pull that off. Make this show. Driving for Trackhouse Racing, number 41, this is Reggie Fogelman's team. It's Giacomo's third attempt at the Indy 250, but he has never made the show. And Nathan, I got you alongside me as well. For someone like Bruno, what is it like, the agony going into this, knowing that you've never run in it and you just want to make it into the show?
It's not a good feeling because obviously you've been to this race for 2 years in a row in a IndyCar, knowing, hey, I'm going to race into the Indianapolis 250, the biggest race of the year, and then you DNQ 2 years in a row. So I can say for Bruno, he really wants to make it in, and hopefully he does, and hopefully he can finally be a third time be the charm here today at the 50.
Maximize at 222 going into the corner right there, minimizing at 212 there off the exit of turn number 3. And 213 as a minimum speed off of turn number 4. Going to try to carry this. If he can beat Avery Alford, that's a good sign for him. Has to beat a 41.314. He will do so. 41.250 for Bruno Di Giacomo and Trackhouse Racing. He goes to the top of the board of the 2 drivers who have gone out so far here in Indianapolis 250 qualifying. Third driver of the day, and a driver attempting his first Indianapolis 250. This is Anthony Hernandez, driving for Webb Racing Enterprises, Drew Webb's team. And the number 88, of course, second year that Webb Racing Enterprises has run full-time here in the Haas IndyCar Series. So they started as an Indy 250 only team 2 years ago. Anthony Hernandez, 2 career wins on the channel. He has never won in an IndyCar before. Wouldn't it be something? This is definitely a type of race that we can see someone like Anthony Hernandez go to victory lane. And all 36 of these drivers have an equal opportunity at winning this race as well. We also got Caleb Rose, who runs the Haas IndyCar Series, and of course you have seen all these drivers run throughout the season. For people like Anthony Hernandez and those guys who have not had the best success going into this race, how big of a race and how big of an opportunity it is for the Indy 250 to revitalize their season as the season rolls on.
Yeah, definitely, especially as a rookie. The Indy 250 can definitely mount a lot of pressure on these guys' shoulders. Though Anthony Hernandez definitely looking to try and perform well here in qualifying especially, because I guess the first step in running in the Indy 250 is actually making the race in general. But looking pretty good here so far. Reached 222 down the back straightaway. Looking pretty sporty here so far. Have to see how he does here as he comes across the line.
They think this is going to be our fastest time so far. A lot of speed in that 88 for Anthony Hernandez, and the big thing for today is just making it into the race, but then, if you can, get into that fast 9 and go for the pole, and he's going to have the fastest time so far, 41.175 for Anthony Hernandez and Webb Racing Enterprises. Great run there for the rookie driver here in this Indianapolis 250. And here is our defending Indianapolis 250 champion, Audra Baranauskas, in the number 1 for Vision Motorsports, Matthew Hubert's team. A 2-time winner of the Indianapolis 250, and for Audra, it has to be an amazing feeling rolling back into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as a 2-time and defending winner of this great race. But everything is a clean slate going into today, and you still got to qualify your way in. And we got a lot of people in the booth here. Stuart, I'm going to ask you here. You know greatness very well, GRT, and you guys are very successful over in the Walla Walla Cup Series. What is the feeling for Audra Baranauskas, knowing that she goes into this race a 2-time winner? It's definitely got to be a good confidence boost for her coming into this one, I'm assuming.
Yeah, absolutely. The confidence you get from obviously knowing that you can win this race. You've done it before. You've done it twice, in fact, and It gets you up a bit, gets your mentality up, and certainly gives you a great opportunity to really perform well here in this race once again, and to win perhaps a third at Indy 250. Didn't quite get to 222 into turn 3 though, so we'll see where this time lands.
Yeah, this doesn't look like one of the faster times, and this is better news for Bruno Di Giacomo, who's trying to make his way in. But this is looking like one of our slower times so far, and that is definitely going to be a huge storyline if Audra Baranauskas, the defending winner of this race, is in the last 9. She is third of 4 drivers, 41.299, so still faster than Alford, still a lot of drivers left to go. We'll see where that ends up falling in as we move on throughout the day, but not necessarily the place you wanted to be at this point here in Indy 250 qualifying. 5th driver in line, it's Tanner Parton, the other Vision Motorsports machine, and the points leader in the Haas IndyCar Series. And Tanner Parton, already a 2-time winner this season, winning at Circuit of the Americas and Nazareth, though those 2 places are very different than this one here in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But Tanner Parton, a driver who's come close to winning in the Wall Wall Cup Series for your team, Nathan, looking to have the biggest win of his career next Saturday, but needs to qualify his way in first. And we'll see what he can do in this 8 machine as the points leader. But Nathan, of course, he's your driver over in the Wall Wall Cup Series. And though he doesn't drive for you here in the IndyCar Series, you still rooting for him a little bit?
Oh yeah, definitely. And the way that it ends up looking out, if Tanner does a good job, then that can sometimes translate over into the Wall Wall Cup Series. And any momentum is good momentum. And he's had a really good season. Obviously, the point leader in the Haas IndyCar Series. And hopefully he can translate that over into the entire month of May. And he did it 222 into turn 1.
Fast lap.
And this is looking really good. 222 for a long time into turn 3.
And of course, too, in terms of the championship, top 10 qualifiers, as I mentioned earlier, all receive championship points. And I know Tanner Parton's going for the title here in the Haas IndyCar Series, and if he wins the pole, well, that's going to be a huge deal in terms of boosting his championship chances. This is going to be a fast time. It will be the fastest time. 41.147 for Tanner Parton in Vision Motorsports. He goes to the top of the board after 5 drivers here in Indy 250 qualifying. Brad Stover in the number 81, driving for Dog Pound Incorporated. This team, and this exact paint scheme to be exact, won the Indianapolis 250 2 years ago when Angel Gutierrez drove for the team. Brad Stover attempting his 3rd Indianapolis 250, a best finish of 27th last year. 13 career wins on the channel for Brad Stover, and 1 win in the Haas IndyCar Series. And this team has definitely found a lot of success in the Haas IndyCar Series, and we've got yet another gentleman alongside us, Matt Tuck. And Matt, you know a lot about success of Team Velocity in the Cup Series. Maybe not as much here in the IndyCar Series, and we'll get to your team in a moment, but what do you think makes that team there, Dog Pound Incorporated, so good at this race in particular, considering they won it 2 years ago?
Well, I mean, Angel Gutierrez put on a really strong performance a few years ago. So, I mean, you got to give him his credit there. And I mean, I think sometimes it's less about the overall of your team and just showing up on Saturday and Sunday to qualify, and then the following Sunday in the race. Obviously, I mean, it can cement a legacy for a lot of people, as it has done here.
And Brad Stover with a solid time right here, 222 going into turn 1 and in turn 3. And we'll see what his exit time is off the exit of turn number 4 right there. Going to minimize at 2:12. A little bit slower off the exit there. We'll see what this time stands. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the slowest time, but Brad Stover going to clock in 41.312. Ooh, he did lose some time there through 3 and 4, so he's going to go to 5th of 6 drivers overall. And this is looking better and better for Bruno Di Giacomo. Still a lot of guys left to go, but he's got 3 drivers behind him at this point. Angel Oliveira, she's driving the number 40 for BO Racing and Bernardo de Oliveira's team. 5th attempt at this Indianapolis 250, but she has never finished higher than 24th in this race, though most of her successes come here in the Haas IndyCar Series. And Caleb, this is a driver who's been in the series for a long time, but has not seen much success. If you're someone like Oliveira who has just been in it, but not really been up front, what do you change up going into a race like this and an attempt to win the Indianapolis 250?
I definitely think Angel has had a lot of flashes of potential, especially last season, early on in the going, where they had that, I believe, top 5 streak going. So we definitely know Angel Oliveira is a solid driver. I just don't know if luck has been on their side as much. But they've had a pretty solid season so far up to this point in that BO Racing number 40. looking for maybe some more success here today.
And one thing I will notice here in terms of the times, I don't necessarily think the speed down the straightaway is going to be indicative of how fast they end up running in the overall time. The speed through the corners is going to mean quite a bit, because that's where a lot of the time is gain or loss. There's 209 off the exit for Oliveira right there, and this is a bit on the slower end compared to what we've seen. And hit 221 going in the turn number 3, and really going to slow it down. That was 210 off the exit of turn number 3. And I have a feeling that this lap might be our slowest time so far, and that's not at all what you want at this point. Trying to figure something out. Go after it again in the last night shootout if that's going to be the case, and that looks like it might be the case. That's the slowest time so far, 41.425 for Angel Oliveira. Just not a good lap at all. A ton of speed lost there in turn number 3. Brennan Wilmington in the number 98 for NS Racing. This is your driver, Nathan, and a driver who has never gone to victory lane on the channel. Now, that's a big thing to say. Of course, he's won a lot of races as an owner, and Vinny Schultz has won a lot of races as a driver, but Brennan Wilmington himself has never won a race as a driver. And Nathan, you know, you're from Indiana. You know how big this race is in real life, and how big this race is here in the Haas IndyCar Series. How special would it be if Brennan Wilmington could get it pulled off for his first ever win next Saturday?
That would be absolutely huge for Brennan Wilmington, and it's easy to say that, even though that would be his first win, that would easily be the biggest win he might ever get as a driver himself. And that would be awesome if NS Racing could win. I think we've had a lot of success in this race, unfortunately, with being the home race for NS Racing. But Brennan's had a really solid season in the Haas IndyCar Series, has had a couple of chances to win, but not on the top done. But it's going to be interesting what he can do here throughout the rest of the month of May for NS Racing.
A little bit faster than what we saw out of Oliveira, but that isn't saying too much. But he is getting some good speed going into the corners. Hit 222 right there. Going to minimize 212. A lot more speed there through turn number 3. Able to keep that grip going. And he's going to hit 211, though, going through turn number 4. And that's not a good speed to have through the last corner on the racetrack, coming to the checker flag for your lap. 319, though. That's 7th of 8th, so it's not going to be a pole. That is not where you want to be if you're Brennan Wilmington. Bit off the pace there with Avery Alford. Tanner Parton still our fastest driver, 8 drivers in to Indy 250 qualifying. And here he is, Nicolas Samudio, 2-time Indianapolis 250 champion. But he has not won this race in 5 years. And Andrew, you were alongside me when we called his first win in this race in 2018. But Stuart, this is your driver. Got the win at Kansas last week, and that was his 31st career win on the channel. His 7th in IndyCar. He's a 2-time Indy 250 champion. I know your expectations are high with him. Drove for you in the Truck Series as well, and you have a good relationship with Nicolas in the GRT banner. But what are you looking forward to here in his opportunity to get into this Indianapolis 250 and go into the next Saturday?
The most important thing for me here is just making sure you just clock in a good enough time to advance on, and we can worry about the rest of it later. Obviously, for the most part, it's been a tough season for the 5 team. We've really struggled, been involved in a lot of chaos, and qualifying's not been our strong suit. So that's what I'm kind of worried about here. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this lap. We'll see what... it looks alright. 211 off turn 2. That looks alright.
Yeah, well, that's what Brennan's looked like as well. And then turns 3 and 4, especially turn 4, was a disaster for him. And hit 222 just a little bit there going into turn number 3. I think part of the key is not carrying too much speed into the corner and losing the grip going in. I think it's what Brennan Wilmington did in turn 4 last time around. Nicolas has a much better drive off than what Wilmington did, and this should solidify his spot into the Indianapolis 250 for the 11th time in his career. He's going to go 104 right to the top. He's in. He's not officially in yet, but he is to the top of the board in the number 5 there. I'm sure you'll love to see that. I think a lot of people like to see that, maybe except you, Andrew. I know you got a little fake rivalry going on with him, but Nicolas Samudio to the top of the board here in Indy 250 qualifying. Here's Justin Zeidel, an Indy 250 veteran. It's going to be his 8th attempt at this race. He did fail to qualify one time back in 2022, but his best finish was 2 years prior. Finished 4th in Samudio's 2nd win of the Indy 250. And Andrew, this is a guy he drove for in the Wawa Cup Series. Actually drove for Justin in the 2020 Indianapolis 250. You probably do not remember that. But someone like Justin who's been in this race more than most of the folks in this field. Does that experience come into play here in qualifying and then eventually in the race as well?
I think so. I think mostly the race. Qualifying, obviously, you're out there just by yourself, and kind of as I alluded to earlier, just trying to keep a smooth wheel is really what you need, because it's like you said, we've been watching the speeds into turn one being like, ooh, this will be a good lap, but really where it comes in is in the corners, like right here. He's scrubbed it down to 212, not getting down to 211. He's kept it at 212, which is good. So I'm sure that's playing a little bit of factor, is that experience, but
he hit 223. He hit it just for a second right there. This thing is flying around the racetrack, and we thought Nicolas had a fast time. I think this might be our fastest time so far. Pretty solid turn 4 there for Justin Zaidel. And an attempt to make the pole. That's a big deal to win the pole here in this race. He's probably going to have a shot at it. He has gone under 41 seconds. First driver to do so all day. 40.995 for Justin Zaidel. And Justin goes to the top of the board here in Indy 250 qualifying.
And the next car coming out on track, one of the Indy 250 only entries. Loudovic Charette, the 2024 Wawa Cup Series champion, of course, driving for the mighty Carson Miller, of course, at the time. Finished third in last year's Indy 250 as well, and he's the one who she was driving for last year, Team Velocity. Driving now for Dog Pound Incorporated in this race, and Matt, I mean, what are your expectations for what she can deliver on this lap?
Well, I mean, we saw last year, came off the bench for us to drive her third Ferrari in her first ever Indy 250 start, made the field, and had a podium finish, so we know the speed is there with Loudovic, and we know the speed's there with Dog Pound Incorporated, so 214 into the first corner, 212. Car looking a little twitchy right there, but I mean, if there's anybody who can put down a lap to get this car into the field, I mean, number 3, Loudovic Charette, is that person.
Not too bad through the first couple of turns, but this is where we've seen some drivers really struggle. Couldn't quite hit the 223 that Justin Zaidel just hit. 213 through turn 3. And he's able to hold on. Now drops back to 213, so this might be towards the top of the board, but we'll see.
No, actually, I think it will be. 171. That is fourth. She held a lot of speed there through turn number 4 right there. Sorry to interrupt there, Stuart, but that was a good lap. I can tell to get that speed off of turn 4. That's really where it kicks in. 4th overall for Loudovic Charette. That's probably going to be good enough to race her way in today. We'll see if it's good enough for the Fast 6 later on. But 4th for the defending Wawa Cup Series champion.
And here is the 83 of Braden Perez driving the GRT Team Velocistar number 83. And it's definitely not been a great season for Perez on the IndyCar side. He's had some good runs on the Cup side. Recently announced one of the best driver lineups I've ever seen in the Truck Series. But Caleb, I mean, Braden, he's had some up and down moments here at Indianapolis, but he's never gotten that higher than 27th. Do you think this is the year? What is it going to take for Braden this year to finally just break through and have a good finish here at the Indy 250?
I think he's definitely got a good team behind him. All the results may not show. I think you all just got really unlucky, but I think you all definitely had some fast cars and a really, really good driver lineup in Braden Perez and Logan Williams. Of course, Perez, I remember last year driving for Porsche Appalachian Motorsports, just barely made it in to the field. So I definitely think he'd like to do a little bit better than that this year. Maybe try and avoid the last time shootout altogether. But going into turn number 3 here, not going to reach 222, and might be a bit of a struggle out there for him.
Yeah, that car looked kind of quick through turn 1. Didn't really look like it wanted to hold together down turn 2, and not a ton of speed carried down the back straightaway. Perez comes across the start-finish line. He's going to go 41.222.
Right down the middle.
You know what?
Right down the middle. That's 6.
Bad.
He should avoid the last 9 with that one. A lot of speed at the end right there, I think, and it's going to be good enough to put him provisionally in the 6th position. He's in the top half right now of the first 12 guys. Hey, a third of the way through Indy 250 qualifying. Let's move on to our next driver here. 2023 champion of this race, Hierjel Gutierrez. And here is our 2023 Indianapolis 250 champion. Winner of this race 2 years ago. It was his first career win on the channel. He's gotten 2 more since that very memorable race that we had 2 years ago when he was driving for Dog Pound Incorporated. He's now driving for Blaine Keys and BK Industries as Angel Gutierrez in the number 49. And this is his third running in the Indianapolis 250. And Andrew, this is a driver who we have seen have a lot of success in this race in the past. He won his very first one in the Indianapolis 250, and does it kind of relieve the pressure going into this qualifying session and then into the race next Saturday?
I think the pressure will only be relieved once he knows that he is locked in, and then he'll be like, all right, at least I know that, hey, I'm a past winner. Oh boy.
There's no pass winner provisional either. That was not good speed there. Now, he can definitely pick it up on the other end of the racetrack, and that's what Perez did. And, you know, we have seen these guys kind of vary in their times off the 2 sections of the racetrack there, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and all you really need is a good 3 and 4, and you really can push that time up a lot more. Not too bad off the exit there at turn number 3 for Angel Gutierrez. A lot of it does come down to your speed through turn number 4, and pretty solid speed there for Gutierrez. So not a good 1 and 2, but a good 3 and 4. And this might be right around what Perez did just a moment ago across the line, 41.185. I mean, these guys are picking up speed in that second half, and Gutierrez is now going to take that 6th spot away, and that should be good enough for him once we get down in the order for him to clinch a spot into this Indianapolis 250. Bradley Bradshaw in the 07, his third attempt at this Indianapolis 250, and the 3rd place finisher last year, driving for Draco. No, he was runner-up last year. That was Loudovic who was 3rd last year. I know Velocitar had a good run last year. Let's just put it that way. And Bradley Bradshaw, well, after what happened at Pocono, left Team Velocitar. Maybe it was the other way around. But he's with Dracone Racing Enterprises, a team that has a lot of success in this series and has been around a long time, Owen Miles' team. And to your point, Caleb, he's had a good season, so what are you expecting for him to do next Saturday, assuming he qualifies his way in?
Honestly, I would expect something similar to what we saw last year. Of course, Bradshaw ran up front pretty much all race in that one and came home 2nd place. I would not be surprised if Bradshaw had another good run here in this year's event. Like I said, he's had a really good season up to this point. Not been quite as loud as last year, but still, he's been scarily consistent up there towards the top 10. We'll have to see how he does here in qualifying. Goes down to 211 there in turn 2, but I'll have to see how he does here in the second half of this track.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of the speed is coming from turns 3 and 4 here today. And just being able to run those corners well. And that was a pretty solid turn 3. We'll see what he does in turn 4. Oh, boy. That was some good speed right there. This is going to be up there. Bradley Bradshaw taking that 07 for a very fast ride around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He is going to go 41.105. That is 3rd quickest. But he has locked his spot into the Indianapolis 250 here in 2025. Just a notch. Just 1/1000th. Behind Nicolas Samudio. Isn't it funny? He's edging them out in qualifying as well. How about that? Bibi Ruiz driving for Dutch Atlantis Racing and Royal Lawrence team. This team has found a lot of success in the past in the Haas IndyCar Series. Bibi Ruiz, his first ever run and attempt at this great race. Got a win earlier this season at Lime Rock Park. And Caleb, refresh my memory, he's been having a pretty decent season, I do believe.
He's had a very solid season here so far up to this point. Been a couple of tough weeks for him. He's fallen down to 14th in the standings, but still, like I said, got the win earlier on in the year in Lime Rock Park, and I'd say definitely going into this race with a lot of much-needed momentum there for the rookie.
And of course, Bibi Ruiz is a driver who hasn't been around too long on the channel, but has made some starts in the past, and this is definitely the biggest start that he will have if he can, in fact, race his way in. 219 across the line for the number 33, going to be 221 going in the turn 1. And Nathan, this is a driver that has a lot of success over in the Sprint Series sometimes as well, I do believe. I think he got a win over there in the Sprint Series this season, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so. He's been very consistent in said whole Sprint Series, and he's one of the favorites as of now so far in the Sprint Series, 2nd in the point standings. So he's been very strong over there. Actually, does not have one.
That was not good.
That was not good at all.
He hit 209 there, and I think the wind is going east, and I think it's catching in between turns 3 and 4 right there, and it's pushing these cars offline just a little bit. That's 3:03, so we'll have to see. He's not going to make the fast 9, but that's one of our slower times that we have had as of late. 41:303 there for Bibi Ruiz.
So, next car out, number 48, Marcus Glitch. Driver that's he's starting to make a name for himself here on the channel. Made some noise, of course, in the Top Dragster Open race at Daytona. Has a couple of sprint wins. And, yeah, I would say that this is someone to keep an eye on going forward in really whatever he participates in. Like I said, really making a name for himself. And, of course, Nathan, you'll know a little bit more about what Marcus has been capable of over in the Sprint Series and the couple of wins that he's got.
Oh yeah, Marcus Glitch has been very strong in the Sprint Series. Only 2 stills, but he won the season opener at Nismo and then Talladega a few weeks back. So 2 for 2, and I think he might be a driver on the up and up here on the trail, and this could be big if he makes it into the Indy 250 next Saturday. And 11 to 10 at St. Turn 2. Decent, not the best, but really have to watch out for 3 and 4.
Yeah, here we go, going into 3 and 4 here. Hitting 222, and now the money corners. 213, that's pretty solid. Now the crucial turn 4. Ooh, he's holding it very nice. 214, barely down to 213. This should be a very good lap for the 48.
Yeah, Marcus Glitch made his debut in the Freedom 50 2 years ago, and it looks like he's going to make his first ever Indianapolis 250 driving for Blaine Key's team. 41.169 for Marcus Glitch. That is 5th overall so far here in Indy 250 qualifying.
And here comes channel veteran Thomas Troxell in the 25. Team Williams McLaren. He's got 2 career IndyCar wins. He's got a runner-up finish here. 8th attempt here at the Indianapolis 250. 7th attempt. My bad. I misread that. 7th attempt here at the Indy 250. He's gonna get this machine up to speed. I don't know who I'm handing this off to, but chat. What do we think? What do we think of Thomas Troxell's chances heading into Indy 250 here? I mean, he's got that Team Williams McLaren, looking to prove he's better than Lando Norris. I mean...
Well, he's already gone further than he did when he tried to qualify in 2023. And that was the one time in all of Indy 250 qualifying that a driver did not get a time in on the first day. A little bit slower there in the turn number 1. There for Thomas Troxell in the 25 machine. Has not been a good season for him as a defending champion of the series. And this lap's a little bit on the slower end as well. But as we have seen here today, turns 3 and 4, that is where you want the speed. And if you get a good drive off turn 4, you can definitely keep that thing in the top half of the grid. But he is not getting a good lap time right now. A slower turn number 3. But he's going to try to keep some decent speed in turn 4. We'll have to see where this ends up lining up for Thomas Troxell and Team Williams, the team formerly known as Wisconsin Speedworks. Andrew Williams, the owner of this organization, 283. That goes to 11th ahead of Audra Baranauskas. That's 6 drivers below him, so he just needs 3 guys to be slower than him, and then he's in the Indianapolis 250 here in 2025. Here's Noah Clifton in the number 55, the other Dracoan car, and I mistakenly called this a Vision Motorsports car the other day because it had the Celsius sponsor. But we got Noah Clifton, who has been in this race. This is going to be his 9th attempt, his 9th running in the Indianapolis 250 if he qualifies, only behind Nicolas Samudio in terms of the amount of starts in this race, which is impressive to think about. And Stuart, this is a fellow countryman. I believe he's from Australia, right? Not New Zealand. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
No, he is Australian.
All
He
right.
actually drove for Grafton Autosport back in 2022. Won a race at Watkins Glen.
There you go.
And so he has gone a victory lane in the IndyCar series before. From what I'm aware, it hasn't been a great season for him. But this is a really good opportunity to get up in the Indy 250, get a win. It makes the whole season just worthwhile, just based on this one race alone. So 210 through turn 2, but as we've seen throughout this session, it's what you do in turns 3 and 4, and particularly turn 4, that can make or break this lap.
Yeah, Noah Clifton, a driver who's been in this race so much. I know he'd love to get a race victory here in the Indianapolis 250, a race that he's been a part of for much of this race's history. Pretty solid turn 4 right there. Maybe a little bit on the slower end right there, but I think this is probably going to be a clinching spot for Noah Clifton in the Indianapolis 250. 285, not quite. That was a notch below Troxell right there, so he lost some speed there near the end of that lap, so still 6 drivers below him. We'll see how that ends up shaking out as we are now halfway through day 1 of Indy 250 qualifying. Chris Reynolds in the number 80 machine here, driving for BO Racing, Bernardo de Oliveira's team. The other BO Racing car did not have a good lap. That was Angel Oliveira, currently still the slowest, and that's looking like Oliveira's going to be in the last 9 shootout. You were telling me, Matt, that you think the cut line is going to be 41.312. You said that a few times ago. Do you think it's still going to be around that point?
Well, I think this is starting to get interesting. I mean, if you look at where we're sitting at right now, I think Oliveira's obviously going to be in the last row shootout. But if you look at where this cut line is moving, you have Stover, Alford, and Wilmington, who are all within 7 thousandths of a second of each other. And it's a little bit up to Ruiz, Baranauskas, Clifton, Troxell. So I don't really know. I mean, we're going to see here. I think Chris Reynolds, as we get into the second half of qualifying here on day 1, not a great turn 1 for Chris Reynolds. We're going to see here, depending on where Chris Reynolds slots in, I think is going to start to be an indicator as to where this cut line is going to start to materialize itself.
And Chris Reynolds, this is his 4th attempt at the Indianapolis 250, best finish of 6th in 2023. Pretty solid lap time there, going through turn number 3, and his speed in turn number 4 is also going to be pretty good. This should be a clinching spot for him. That was a good lap out of Chris Reynolds, and should be his 4th running in this race, actually his 3rd running. He failed to qualify in 22, but he's back. That is the 2nd quickest lap of the day, 41.088. Set by Chris Reynolds and BO Racing. Chris Reynolds is in the Indianapolis 250. And we got our next driver in line, and this is one of 2 true rookies attempting this race. This is Gustavo Smanio driving for BO Racing. We just saw Chris Reynolds set the 2nd fastest time for this team a moment ago. And now you got Gustavo here in the number 6 machine. And Stuart, this is a driver we don't know anything of. And here they are at the Indianapolis 250, looking to qualify in the biggest race on the channel. How big must that be, making your first start here in Indianapolis in the biggest race of the season?
Getting that opportunity, it's pretty special to be involved in the series, and then for your first start to be probably the biggest race on the channel is quite remarkable. So, I think, and we've seen previous years with rookies, they've gone quite well in this race. Obviously, we think back to Angel Gutierrez a couple of years ago. So we'll see what he could do. He exits turn 1 at 2:11, and then we'll see what he exits turn number 2. Goes through 10. Okay, we'll see if he can make it up.
A little bit on the slower end, unfortunately. He really dropped off in the turn 1. I think he lost a little bit of grip going in there. We'll see if he regains it in 3 and 4. Pretty solid turn number 4 right there, but a lot of that speed comes in turn number 4. Oh, and yep, right there. That's what you do not want to do. Hit 209 on the entry, and that's going to slow his time down. Cross the line for Gustavo Smanio. We're going to see where he ends up in the number 60 machine, a 3.43. That's 19th of 20 drivers. That is not good at all. And Chris Reynolds had the fast car there at BO Racing. The other 2 BO cars have been awful here in Indy 250 qualifying. Carson Miller in the number 86 for Durrani Racing. And Carson Miller's done an excellent job in all the series on the channel as of late. Lenovo Pro Series champion from last year. Hey, would like to mention, and I think you may have noticed it right there, Bruno Di Giacomo has qualified for the Indy 250, so his streak of 2 straight DNQs will end this year. He will be running in his first ever Indianapolis 250 next Saturday. Carson Miller, will he join him? At this moment, he needs to beat a 41.283. That is Troxell's time right there. He is on the bubble right now. And still only one driver who has gone under 41 seconds. That was Justin Zaidel with a 49.95 earlier on. But Carson Miller, a very good driver. And Matt, Durrani Racing, they are the defending owners, champions in the Haas IndyCar Series, and you would expect them to have a pretty good run here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, you definitely expect Durrani Race to come out here in Indianapolis and put in some strong runs here. Miller, not a terrible 1 and 2, strong down the back straightaway so far, but then this is a guy who I think has a lot riding heading into next Wawa Cup Series. Definitely a highly touted rookie or young rising star. This is a good lap. Oh boy, this is a good lap so far.
Yeah, this is going to be up there. This might be Fast 9 levels of good right here. Carson Miller trying to take this 86 to the top. Will he be able to do so? His lap time is going to be a 41.184. Well, provisionally that's Fast 9, but I don't think he's going to hold it once we get done of the day. But he is in the Indy 250. He has qualified his way in there. That is 9th overall for Carson Miller in Durrani Racing. And we got Ace Garcia next in line in the number 27. And this is another driver who has been in this race for many, many years. This is Ace's 8th attempt at this Indianapolis 250. Best finish, though, of 7th, and that came a couple of years ago in 2022. That was Trey Smith's win in this race 3 years ago. But Ace Garcia, this is another guy like Noah Clifton who has been in this race for many, many years, and I know it would be a huge deal for him to go to victory lane. And Stuart, this is a guy you've raced with and you've seen on the channel for a long time. How big of a win would it be if Ace Garcia were to pull it off here for Dutch Atlantis Racing?
I think it would be hard to describe how big of a win it would be for Ace, given that he's been in this race for so many years, so many attempts, I should say. Try and to finally break through, I think would mean quite a lot to him. And of course, he's driving for the team that won last year with Audra Baranauskas. So, they do have the pedigree with Dutch Atlantis Racing, although 211 through turn 2, it's alright. We'll see what he can do through turns 3 and 4. These have been the money turns, particularly turn 4. If he can nail turn 4, got a good chance, although 212, we'll see what he can do here in this last turn. 216 going in, coming out, 213, that's not bad, so we'll see where he slots in.
Yeah, and if you can slow it down enough going in the 4 and keep that grip, you're probably going to be alright, and that is an alright time. That will qualify his way in. 41.191 for Ace Garcia, and he's going to be part of the 18 drivers that don't qualify tomorrow. But that's a good thing. That means you're in the race, and Ace Garcia will, in fact, be in his 8th Indianapolis. Actually, sorry, 7th. He failed to qualify 2 years ago in 2023. This is actually going to be a 7th running in the race, though it's his 8th attempt in this Indy 250. And next driver in line, the number 79 of John Andrews, another one of these drivers who has been in this race for many years. His 8th attempt at this Indianapolis 250, and it will be his 8th running if he qualifies his way in. He has not failed to qualify in the past. But John Andrews is a driver who has had a lot of success in the Haas IndyCar Series this season, Caleb, and he's had a good season, though he did lose the points lead after the Indy Road Course race on Thursday. He is looking to make do of that and make better of that in Indy 250 race victory, if he can do it. And he's got an opportunity of doing so. Of course, his best finish was 6th in 2020. A lot of these drivers got their best finish in this race in 2020, that year that Nicolas Samudio ended up winning the race. But you've seen a lot of good things out of John Andrews. Won the opening race of the season, Caleb. How do you think he's going to do, especially with this lap time looking really quick here in Indianapolis?
Yeah, so far so good here for John Andrews. That was some really good speed there coming down the front straightaway and into turn 1. And through turn 2 here as well. But yeah, John Andrews, he's had a real plentiful time so far there for your team in Audra Motorsports so far this season. Of course, like you said, got the win in the opening race at California and has been pretty consistent. He's had a few rough patches which have lost him the points lead, but in an equal rating series like this, anybody could have rough patches anywhere, so it's still been a fantastic season for John Andrews, and this is looking like a pretty fantastic qualifying lap here.
This is going to the top. I swear, it's not rigged, guys. But I'm not doing good for my case there. Oh, it's second, but John Andrews is in the Indy 250 once again, 41.065, and how about Outer Island Motorsports 1-2? So far, 23 drivers in. Hey, it ain't rigged, guys. I swear, it is not. And here is, in the past 2 years, the fastest man in Indy on qualifying day, Christian Vargas, Indy 250 pole sitter for the past 2 years in 2023 and 2024, and a 2-time runner-up in this race as well. He was runner-up to Baranauskas in 2019. and also runner-up in 2023 to Angel Gutierrez. Well, he's driving for the team that Angel Gutierrez won the race in 2 years ago, and of course he has won the pole the past 2 years, and it would be a disappointment for Vargas if he doesn't make the Fast 9. But Matt, how do you think it's going to go down for Christian Vargas, two-time pole sitter here in this Indianapolis 250?
Well, obviously, a three-peat of Indy 250 poles, while it is not a three-peat of Indy 250s, that's still a pretty prestigious mark to achieve if he could pull this off. Looks pretty okay through turns 1 and 2. This is definitely a quick lap here so far, so we'll see what Vargas has when he gets down to 3 and 4 and if he can nail that, but so far so good, and the fastest man in Speedway Indiana the past 2 years looks quick again.
Yeah, this is looking good. Not quite as fast as the Outer Island cars, but still just has to make sure he hits his marks in turn number 4. 213, that's not too bad. We've seen some of those guys at 209. That is not what you want to do, but Vargas, it should at least get him in the race, and that, of course, is the most important part of this qualifying session. 165, though, that's currently top 9. That is 7th overall for Christian Vargas. Will it be enough to make it in? I don't know. We got 12 drivers left. We'll see how it goes down. But Christian Vargas is in the Indianapolis 250 for 2025. And we're now in the last third. 12 drivers left to go here in Indy 250 qualifying, and the second of our 2 true rookies, Indy 250 only driver Emily York Watson in the number 9 for Vision Motorsports, and Matthew Hubert. And this is a driver who has never made a start on the channel. Nathan, you know a little bit about these first-timers. How do you think Emily York Watson's going to do here in her first ever attempt here at the Indianapolis 250?
It's very interesting what Emily can do here, and that's a very solid team for Vision Motorsports. But we saw earlier with the first of the two rookies didn't really work out that well, so maybe the second one can do a little bit better here in day 1 of Indy 250 qualifying.
A pretty solid time going in the turn number 1 right there. And looking to make her first ever start on the channel, and of course for it to be the Indianapolis 250 is a pretty big deal. The cut line right now is still Thomas Troxell, so Di Giacomo is still the first guy in, guaranteed in. Troxell, that's the 283 that these drivers need to beat in order to make their way into the show. Pretty solid turn number 4, and this should be good enough for Emily York Watson to make it in. No relation to Benny Watson, who, as an owner right now, is having a great time. I don't know. I tell you, I swear it's not rigged. A great lap there for Emily York Watson. 41.157. That is good enough to qualify her way in and maybe even have a shot at the pole tomorrow in the Fast 9. And here is the legend himself, Zachary Fitzwater. And Caleb, the other night, you had the great honor of calling this gentleman to his 30th career win on the channel, getting now a win at the Indianapolis Road Course. He has won a race in every calendar year on the channel, and he has come close in this one. He was second in 22 to Trey Smith. This is his 6th running in the Indianapolis 250. It's Zachary Fitzwater, driving for Trackhouse Racing. And Caleb, I know you want to see him run well. I think a lot of us would like to see him tie, well, maybe not all of us, but some of us would like to see him tie Samudio next Saturday, possibly for the all-time wins list, and him get another shot at it again. We'll see what he can do right here on his lap, though, here in Indy 250 qualifying.
Just have to see, but yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Great to see Fitzwater get that race win, and oh my goodness. I was going to say, and that win at the Indy Road Course, probably going to give him a lot of momentum coming into this one, and oh boy, that might be an understatement. That was a crazy first sector there. I have to see if he can back it up in the second half of the track, but yeah, great to see Zachary get win number 30 there, and got it in absolutely spectacular fashion, too.
He had to check it up a little bit more than he would have liked to there in turn 3. Got to be careful in turn 4 right here. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
this might be the fastest time we have seen so far today, and fitting for a long-time veteran like Zachary Fitzwater to put this car to the top. He is going to go 49.54. We got a new fastest driver in Indy. It's Zachary Fitzwater, who goes to the top of the board. 26 drivers in. That is impressive there for Zachary Fitzwater. 30-time winner on the channel. And Team Williams back out again here, this time with Duncan Ward, one of the drivers who drives for both Team Williams in the Wall Cup Series and the Haas IndyCar Series as well, though it has not been as successful of a run here in the IndyCar Series for Duncan. But we'll see. Will this field get dunked on? That's the big question that we are all looking to see. And, of course, Zachary Fitzwater just put down the fastest time, 49.54. Duncan Ward here trying to attempt his first Indianapolis 250 and race in the Indianapolis 250. And I think it'd be a great thing to see Duncan Ward have a good run here in qualifying so that he is, in fact, in the Indy 250. But, Matt, this is a driver that you guys have competed with in the Wall Cup Series quite a bit this season. What are you looking forward to here in Duncan Ward's time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know Thomas Troxell didn't really have a great lap time. That's not really holding up as this goes on. Oh, that's a quick turn one exit here. I don't know if this track is starting to ramp up a bit here, but we're seeing some quicker exit speeds through turn one. And he's carrying a good head of steam down into turns 3 and 4. So if he nails this here, I think we're looking at another big lap. Oh, I don't know. We might see another big lap time here.
And I think it's going to be enough to solidify a spot in the show, which means that Troxell is still on the bubble with that 2.83. And it's going to be interesting to see how it ends up shaking out. So 1.36, that is 7th for Duncan Ward. We'll see if that ends up making the Fast 6 later on, but a great time out of Duncan Ward in the number 13 for Team Williams. And here comes our 2023 Haas IndyCar Series champion of Luna, driving for Durrani Racing in the 04 team. And drove for your team last year, Matt, there, Team Velocity. And we'll have to see what she can do here in this lap. Of course, Troxell still on the bubble, 2.83. Other drivers that are on the brink of possibly being in the last 9 shootout include Noah Clifton, last year's winner, Audra Baranauskas, and Brennan Wilmington not with a good time either. We thought that he'd be a lot better, especially considering where he is in the points right now here in the IndyCar Series. But here's Luna in the 04, looking to race her way in to this Indianapolis 250 for the 3rd time in her career.
Yeah, Lona. Big speed down the front straightaway here. Another good exit through turn 1. A little bit slower than Duncan. She's had an okay season here, but hey, I mean, I think a theme that we've said all night in qualifying, or all morning, all day here in qualifying, does the rest of the season matter if you can win this race? I mean, this is the biggest race on the channel. Ooh, hello, wake up.
There's definitely some speed in that 04 machine, a little bit slower through turn 4 than what she would have liked, but this is still going to be a good time, and it's going to be good enough to race her way in. And now, if you're Thomas Troxell, you got to be thinking to yourself, am I even going to make it into the race today, or am I going to have to go back to the last 9 shootout again? That didn't work out too well for him a couple of years ago. Luna goes 4th, 41.084 for the 2023 Haas IndyCar Series champion.
Well, here comes the 63 of Logan Williams in the sister GRT Team Velocity machine. And Stuart, I mean, it hasn't been a great season so far for this GRT Team Velocity squad. I mean, we've definitely had some ups and downs, but we just saw Braden put in a decent time earlier in the day. It got him likely into the show here. And we're seeing the track, it looks like, start to ramp up. So, I mean, what's Logan got to do here? What do we think Logan's going to be able to get out of this car here as this track looks like it's starting to ramp up a bit?
Well, you want to maximize turns 3 and 4. We talked about it all day. A lot of the time, that's where you can find the speed, and drivers who are towards the front have been able to be very quick through those turns. So we'll see 213, 212 out of turn 1. That's not too bad. They're going through a little bit lower in 211. We've seen some guys hit 212, 213 through there. So this is the most important bit of the track for me, based on what we've seen in qualifying so far. Turns 3 and 4 is in at 222, 212.
Oh, that wasn't great, as he's going to come down the front straightaway here. Oh, find a little bit of speed.
This is not what you want to see if you're Thomas Troxell, that's for sure, because this is going to be faster than Troxell. Williams will race his way in. 1.84, that ties Carson Miller at 15th Logan will still be in the race in his 5th Indianapolis 250. He was runner-up in 2021, 4 years ago. In a tie there with Carson Miller, and that tiebreaker will be broken on points, so refresh my memory on that one, Caleb, here in just a moment, and we'll update that for you here in just a sec. Max Davis in the number 17. Still got 3 of these Indy 250 only drivers here in the qualifying session. They did really well in practice yesterday. Of course, they got that draft and definitely got some good times pulling off some of the other cars. You don't do that here in qualifying. It's all up to the speed in the car, and this is the 3rd car for Dutch Atlantis Racing there, Rogeldorn's team, and Max Davis. That's definitely a hard-looking scheme, if you know what I mean. We'll see what he can do here in Indy 250 qualifying, looking to make his first ever Indianapolis 250. And he's a driver who has never won a race on the channel before either, so we'll see if he can, in fact, pull off something magical here today. In order to make the race, he needs to beat Troxell's time there, 41.283. That's been the time for quite a while, and all these guys have beaten him. Ooh, a little bit slower across the line. We'll see if this ends up working out for him as we move along. Be 211 there in turn number 2. And Caleb, this is a driver never seen IndyCar before. We'll have to see what he ends up doing here in this number 17. Not looking too good there. 212 going through turn number 3, and turn number 4 is definitely the mark that we always look to see. Pretty fast turn 4, though, so we'll see if he ends up picking up the speed here across the line. Max Davis looking to race his way into this Indianapolis 250. 155. It's not going to be good enough for the top 9, but that turn 4 was what saved him, and Max Davis is in the 2025 Indianapolis 250.
And here comes the second of the Grattan Autosport cars, J Knapp in the 23, who, as Nathan pointed out, missed the race last year. So hopefully, for my own personal sake, and for Jay's, of course, he can beat the time. It's a 41.283. That's the time to beat, to at least get into, lock your way into the Indy 250. And hopefully, for our sakes, he can get into the Fast 9 as well. Nathan, what are your expectations in terms of, or what do you think he should do in terms of attacking this lap?
Well, we've seen all day, and I think for J Knapp, he just needs to nail 3 and 4, and that is going to be the most important to hopefully not be in a same boat as he was last year for the NS Race 98 for J Knapp. And so far, decently, 213. That's not that good. 211 in turn 2. Really has to nail 3 and 4. You just saw it. Turn 4 has been the magic spot. And we'll see what J Knapp can do.
Yeah, you gotta remember I'm so sorry, Stuart. I want to mention, that the 98 of Brennan Wilmington's also failed to qualify as well. Well, not failed to qualify, but he's going to be in the last 9, so it's not a good car, unfortunately, Nathan. I think this car is, and J Knapp's going to put this thing in the show. He's going to go 160. Not fast enough to make the fast 9, but he's in it, and that's what counts. So J Knapp, he's back in the Indy 250 after missing it last year. And Stuart, I know you can breathe your sigh of relief right now. That means that all 4 of the GRT cars in this race are going to be in the show, which is great for you guys there at GRT. J Knapp is in the Indy 250 for 2025. Next in line, it's Max Anderson in the number 99. I don't even know if I'm going to say development driver to Alex in a row anymore, because Max Anderson is looking to make his 7th Indianapolis 250. It's not really development phase anymore for Max Anderson. We know how good Alex in a row has been over in the Sprint Series and in the Light Series this year. He's got to get in the Wawa Cup Series at some point. But he has his driver, Max Anderson, here in the Indianapolis 250. The downside for Max Anderson, he has never finished top 10 in this race. Best finish is 11th all the way back in 2017. That was the year Luke Rainey won. Well, Nathan, you know a lot about Alex in a row and what he's been able to do. Max Anderson, what a huge win it would be if he could pull it off, but he's got to make the show here in this number 99.
This would be huge for Max Anderson, and of course, I guess the agent kind of Alex in a row. He's been dominant in the Hood Sprint Series this season, and looking forward to see what Max Anderson can do, trying to make yet another Indy 250. It's like a solid one so far. Kind of same of what we've seen at the late. but let's see what Matt Anderson can do. 222, 223 into turn number 3.
This is looking very quick for Max Anderson, and this is a driver who has been in this race so much. He is very well experienced, a bit slower in turn 4 than he would have liked, but this should still at least qualify his way in here today in this Indianapolis 250 across the line. 0.56. That is third quickest overall for Max Anderson in Webb Racing Enterprises, and that is actually going to clinch him a spot in the Fast 9, so he's going to be going for the pole tomorrow as well. Next driver in line, it is Dylan Matthews in the 39 for Evans Ross Racing, and Avery Alford, the other car for Evans Ross Racing, is below the cut line, and we haven't really mentioned these guys who are below the cut line officially now. Brad Stover, Avery Alford, Brennan Wilmington, Gustavo Smanio, and Angel Olvera. They are guaranteed to be in the last night shootout, but we have not gotten below the bottom 9 drivers in quite some time. Troxell's been on the bubble for the past 10 drivers, it seems, and that 41.283 is still the benchmark. But Caleb, Dylan Matthews has had a pretty solid season. She won at Willow Springs earlier this year. Will she be able to have a good run here?
I definitely think so. We know that Matthews is a very solid driver. We know you got a really good team behind her there in Evans Ross Racing. Sweet team though there across the line. Not the fastest time we've seen into turn number 1. We'll see how she goes throughout the rest of this lap, though. Going into turn 2 here. Going down to 210. Maybe the Evans Ross Racing cars as a whole, maybe a little bit of a blip on the setup, or I don't know what might be going on, but Matthews might be struggling a little bit out here.
Whereas turn number 4 is a very big corner, 211 off the exit of turn 3. As long as she doesn't really dive it down too low into turn number 4, she's probably going to have a good opportunity. That was a pretty fast turn 4, and right there, that's kind of the big key. I mean, we saw Max Davis kind of have a slow lap until he got to turn 4, and that was the case with Dylan Matthews. But that's not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough. That was a very slow first part, and Dylan Matthews is Thomas Troxell's best friend today. Troxell's in the Indy 250. Dylan Matthews is going to have to go to the last night shootout. That's both of the Evans Ross cars in the last night shootout tomorrow. And we're now down to the last 3 drivers here in Indy 250 qualifying here on Saturday. Thank you all so much for watching here today. We've had a lot of fun doing this and seeing who's going to make it into the Fast 9, who's going to make it into the last 9. Where will Jeffery Finguy fall in? One of the few drivers who has never won a race on the channel, though he did make some starts in the Truck Series last year. Driving for your team, Nathan. This is the 96 NS Racing Machine. And do I regret to inform you that in 2023, this exact ride failed to qualify when Bruno Di Giacomo was driving it. Well, we'll see what Jeffery Finguy can do, Nathan. I know you want to see him get his way in. He's got to beat the 41.285 that was set by Noah Clifton, who is now the driver who is on the bubble. Troxell has made his way in. Let's see what Finguy can do here on this lap.
Yeah, it's not been a good couple of years for NS Racing. We've had a driver for one of our cars, DNQ in 23 and 24. And Logan Wilmington is in the last night shootout, but hopefully Finguy can get in and have at least one car in the Indy 250. A decent 1 and 2, 222,
Well, this is
223 into turn 3.
This might be Fast 9 level right here for Jeffery Finguy in the 96. And the line right now is a 136 for the Fast 9. That was a good turn 4. We'll see what it is for the driver, the number 96 for NS Racing. Well, the good news for you, Nathan, you're going to at least have one guy in the show. That is a 0.57. That is just a notch below Max Anderson, and Finguy goes to 4th overall here, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hierjel Alonso on the number 50. So this is his first Indianapolis 250 start since 2021. Been a little while for Hierjel, but his best finish in this race came 10 years ago, so he's been around for a while. Finished 5th in 2015. His 6th attempt at this Indianapolis 250, and take a look at who's just above that cut line right now. It's Audra Baranauskas, last year's winner of this race. And it's a nervous time for a defending Indy 250 champion. Will Alonso be fast enough in the Dracoa number 50 to bump her out? Or will Alonso be joining Ruiz, Stover, Alford, Wilmington, Matthews, Smanio, and Olvera in that last 9 shootout? Well, Caleb, It's definitely been a very interesting session. It's looking like a good lap for Alonso right here. It's 220 across the line, 222. This is looking fast for Hierjel in the number 50.
Looking pretty sporty here so far. Yeah, it's definitely been a very interesting session. It's almost kind of like we've seen, you know, like you said, the track kind of just ramping up here in the later stages. We've seen a lot of the faster laps here come here in the second half of qualifying, and this lap is definitely looking no different so far. That was a decent first sector there for Hierjel Alonso. Got a lot of speed there down the back straightaway. Minimizing at 213, not bad at all there through turn 3. Through turn 4 is going to be a big corner, and oh my goodness.
It's, yeah, he's going to be going for the pole tomorrow, that is for sure. That was a great lap out of Alonso. It might be the fastest. Not quite, it's second quickest, 0.993 for Hierjel Alonso in the 50. That's going to knock Bradshaw out of the Fast 9. Nicolas Samudio on the bubble for the Fast 9 shootout. Audra Baranauskas is going to be in the last 9 shootout. The defending winner of the race may fail to qualify. This is very, very interesting, and tomorrow's going to be a heck of a lot of fun for us as viewers. Maybe not for Baranauskas, but Alonso's going to have fun going for the pole tomorrow. Second quickest here in Indy 250 qualifying. And we're now down to our last driver here in Indy 250 qualifying. Hey, thanks to all you guys for joining me here. This has been a lot of fun, and here's the big moment. Aaron Abel in the 97. Of course, this is his third attempt at this Indianapolis 250. Best finish of 10th 2 years ago. Nathan, this is your driver. And Stuart, you do not want to see Aaron Abel go faster than a 41.104 because you got your driver Nicolas Samudio right on the bubble. And then Noah Clifton does not want to see Aaron Abel go faster than the 41.285 because Clifton is on the bubble of making it in. Baranauskas is going to be in that last 9 shootout regardless. But what a session here today, and we get to do it again tomorrow with the last 9 Fast 9 shootouts. But Nathan, how do you think this is going to go down with Aaron Abel in 97?
Well, I'm one stressful team owner because we all got one call in the last 9. We got a call in the Fast 9, and I'm hopeful for Aaron Abel here. He's had a very solid season here in the Haas and the Car Series, and I'm hopeful that he can get the job done, at least make it into the top 27, because I don't want 2 cars in that last 9 shootout tomorrow.
And Stuart, it's a little bit of a nervous moment for you, even though you got both of your drivers in the show. I know you want to see Nicolas Samudio in that Fast 9. He's right on the bubble, so a little bit of anxiety for you here in this session?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got both cars in, both pretty good times, and obviously the 5 is right on that bubble. We want to be competing for the pole. It's always an honour to lead the field to the green in the Indy 250. Never really had that. We've never really been close to that opportunity, to be quite honest. So this would be pretty cool just to get that opportunity to compete for the pole. But we'll see here because the 97 was quickest for a reason. So. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, he was the quickest yesterday in the main practice session. Will he be quick enough to make it into the Fast 9 shootout or just make it into the race here today as well? He's going to be 2:19 across the line. I don't think this is going to be a Fast 9 time, so you probably breathe easy there, Stuart. But now Noah Clifton's the one who's a little nervous because this is going to be right on that cut line, on that cusp there. And Nathan, I know you do not want to see this type of lap out of Aaron Abel, but still got 3 and 4 left to go here for the driver of the number 97. Aaron Abel, 1 career win in the Haas IndyCar Series, 2 career wins overall on the channel. Both for NS Racing, by the way. Very good. Turn number 3 right there. A lot of speed, and a lot of speed through turn 4. He's going to pick it back up, and, oh, I don't know, Stuart. He may have gotten it back in that Fast 9. Let's see. Across the line for Aaron Abel, 41.164. He's in the show. He'll qualify 16th. Samudio will be in the Fast 9 shootout. Noah Clifton will be in the last 9 shootout. But Aaron Abel, he's in the show, and I think that was the best. That was the best result for both of you guys there. Good job out of Aaron Abel. He's in the show there for NS Racing in the number 97. And there you have it for day 1 of Indy 250 qualifying. And what a day it was, that is for sure. And let's start with the good news. And the 9 drivers that will be going for the pole tomorrow for this Indianapolis 250. Zachary Fitzwater with the fastest time here today. And what a week it has been for Fitzy. He got that win in the Indianapolis road course race and got the fastest time here today. He's going to be going for a pole. Hierjel Alonso with the second fastest time. Justin Zaidel, Max Anderson. Those four guys have a lot of experience in this race. Jeffery Finguy, his first ever run in this Indianapolis 250, the only driver who made the Fast 9 who was a rookie to this race. John Andrews, Luna Lona, Chris Reynolds, and Nicolas Samudio going to be going for the pole tomorrow after the last 9 shootout. And these are the guys. 3 of these drivers are going to fail to qualify tomorrow. Noah Clifton in the 55, our defending Indy 250 champion of Audra Baranauskas. Bibi Ruiz in the 33, Brad Stover in the 81, Avery Alford in 93, Brennan Wilmington in the 98, Dylan Matthews in the 39, Gustavo Smanio in the 60, and Angel Oliveira in the 40. And then there are the 18 guys who they won't be doing anything tomorrow, but they're happy campers because they're going to be running in next week's Indianapolis 250. Bradley Bradshaw will be starting in the 10th position, and he gets a bonus point towards the championship for qualifying 10th. Duncan Ward and Tanner Parton will be in row number 6. Max Davis and Emily York-Watson will be in row number 7. Jay Knapp and Aaron Abel will be in row number 8. Christian Vargas and Marcus Glitch will be in row number 9. Loudovic Charette and Anthony Hernandez will be in row number 10. Carson Miller and Logan Williams will be in row number 11. Angel Gutierrez and Ace Garcia will be in row number 12. Braden Perez and Bruno Di Giacomo for the first time qualifies the Indianapolis 250. That'll be row 13. And then Thomas Troxell will be inside row 14 and will qualify in that 14th row alongside whoever is fastest in the last 9 shootout tomorrow. Well, Matt, I'm going to start off with you. What a session that was. I'm sure you're happy that both of your guys are in this race, but what are you looking forward to tomorrow in the last 9 to Fast 9 shootouts?
Well, I mean, I think, we saw some track variation as I felt like the session went on, and you also saw some guys who they just plain missed it. As far as in the last 9, watching the ERR, the Evans Ross Racing cars, they did not look particularly good here today. Obviously, they'll get some time to work on their setups, come back, and tackle this again. And then in the top 9, I mean, you've got such a mixed bag of drivers up here, and there's 0.05 of a second separating them. So I think that'll just be, just see who can lay down the fastest 4 corners. But that last row shootout, that last 9 shootout is going to be very exciting to watch with some of those names in there.
Mm-hmm. And Stewart, of course, you also have both of your drivers in it as well. You also have a driver in the Fast 9 shootout. Samudio going to be going out first in the Fast 9 shootout, and there have been times where the first driver out on the Fast 9 shootout went on to win the pole. So what are you hoping for in Nicolas Samudio tomorrow in his attempt to get a good starting position for the Indianapolis 250?
Well, what I hope for is pole position. That's what I hope for. But what he was able to do on that lap was very, very good, and very quick, and particularly through 3 and 4. Obviously, throughout the session, and it wasn't the be-all and end-all, but typically, more often than not, if you were able to nail turns 3 and 4, you were able to do a pretty good job. We saw that at the end with Abel. His 1 and 2 wasn't that great, but really 3 and 4 is what really got him up to, he's starting 16th. So I think, if you could do a decent enough job in 1 and 2 and then really nail 3 and 4, it really sets you up quite well for this session tomorrow. But I mean, there's some very, very quick cars. I mean, the 52 in particular was a rocket ship. And he obviously knows his way around this track very, very well. So, I mean, a very interesting mix of drivers there. Lots of some guys that have had a lot of experience, and a couple that someone like a Finguy, for example, that hasn't had any experience. So it's going to be good fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. And Nathan, you got a guy in that Fast 9 as well. You also got a driver in the last 9. So I'm gonna bring it over to that. What does Brennan Wilmington need to do tomorrow to avoid failing to qualify for this Indianapolis 250 here in 2025?
Well, hopefully, Brennan Wilmington can get a better lap time tomorrow and avoid a minutes racing car DNQing for the 30 in a row. That is not a stat I want to see, but it's great to see that 96, that one-off car, get into the Fast 9, and of course, I was stressed out a little bit with unable there, but he nailed 3 and 4, and he got in with a decent starting spot as well. But I'm looking forward to what tomorrow brings, because if it's anything like today, then it could be where the track just keeps on getting faster and faster the more rubber is on it, because we saw that all day. It kept on getting faster from the start to the finish, and especially the second half. Everyone was going faster, so I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see on who makes it in.
And Caleb, you know, you've been in this position before as a driver in this race. You actually failed to qualify in 2021, 4 years ago, so you know what it's like. What do these guys in the last night shootout need to do tomorrow to keep themselves in position to have an opportunity at winning this race, especially considering we have our defending Indy 250 winner in that last night shootout tomorrow?
Yeah, I know. Definitely know that for a lot of these guys here at the last night, there's a lot of pressure being in a position such as that, because of course anything can happen here in qualifying, and it'll be interesting to see what everybody can do here in the last night shootout. But these guys just need to, I guess, straighten things out, figure out what went wrong with the lap times here today, and help build off of that into the qualifying sessions that we'll see here tomorrow. But, hey, you know, a trend we usually, I think, see here is that a lot of these times from the last nine shootout can be quicker than sometimes in the fast nine. So, you usually see a lot of these guys lock in once it all comes down to it. But, definitely ought to be fun, and it'll be really interesting to see who makes it in and who doesn't.
That'll be tomorrow, noon Eastern Time, for the last nine and fast nine shootouts for the Indianapolis 250 here in 2025. And this time, next week, we'll probably be crowning a winner in the 12th running of the Indianapolis 250. Who will it be? And I think it's very good if you are a driver starting top 9, because last year we saw the track position meant quite a bit in this race, and if you're someone like Fitzwater, Alonso, Zaidel, they're all going to have a good opportunity regardless of how well they do tomorrow at winning this great race. Well, thank you so much for watching here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We will see you guys tomorrow for the last 9 and fast 9 shootouts. We'll see who makes it into the show and who gets the pole position for the 12th running of the Indianapolis 250. On behalf of Nathan Stapleton, Stuart Gratton, Caleb Rose, Matt Tuck, and Andrew Miller, we will see you guys tomorrow for the last 9 and fast 9 shootouts. I will see you guys later.